My name is Martin Bachmann. I'm the product manager for the SAP Event Mesh for the SAP Business Technology platform from SAP SE. I'm located here in Walldorf in Germany. In the next couple of minutes, I'd like to walk you through an overview of what SAP is doing in the area of event-driven architecture, what SAP is offering for our customers, and what we are doing also together with Solus, and how we are collaborating, and what our plans and what our visions here are there together. Now, looking back in history, so 2016, that was more or less the first introduction of the topic of messaging and enterprise messaging at SAP. So we had a great TechEd, which is our main customer fair. And here our head of the development, so Björn Görke, he made an awesome presentation. So it was a room full of people. There were thousands of people in the ballroom there in Las Vegas. And what we did is the following. So we created mobile apps for Android, iOS. We asked all the attendees to download, and everyone did it. And so at one point of time, so Björn was asking everyone to use the mobile phone and shake it. And so the mobile app, this was recording all the events and messages coming from the mobile phone, from the shaking, from the movement. Literally hundreds of events per device per second, and then that was then transformed sent over to our HANA database, and then we had analytics on top of it. So it was a great show, and everything worked fine. So that was even better. Later on, we also had interviews with Dennis here, so links all available. So having said that, at 2016, it was more the technology showcase, and I think that worked very nice at that point of time. In 2018, already 2 years later then, we were using the technology, but we brought it way more into business processes. And yet at that point of time, our board member there, Bernd Leukert, he was on the one side showing how great our tools are, how great our software is, the ERP solution, S4HANA, and was showing how much can be done already in the standards without doing any modification, just using the software as it is. So showing how to configure things and use this configuration over from our customer experience platform, use it over in the ERP solution for production. But then at one point of time, it's important to come up with differentiating. So to differentiate the solution at our customers from their competitors. Therefore, it's important to do some own customizing, development, and so on. But of course, the SAP system is a very open system, and it offers a lot of possibilities there. But if you'd like to do a lot of updates and upgrades later on, it's typically quite easy to separate the extensions from the real core. And what we were doing now is, so we added a lot of hooks of events and triggers into our products. And I'll talk about that in way more detail a little later on. So, and with these events that are coming now out of the software, we were able to develop an extension very easily. In that case, in that example, it was the following. So at that moment of time where this car that was configured was in production and got a new color, or got the color, that point of time, we developed a small extension that was using a photo that has been taken and was asking then the CRM system what is the address and email address, and is then using that and sending it, I think, via Twitter or email, then the recently taken photo from exactly that car of this production batch over to the customer, and everything without a single line of coding inside of the main ERP solution. Everything done outside, triggered by events. So it was a huge difference to just using it as a technology. Now we embedded it into our products, and we're able now to do additional logic, additional enhancements on top of it. Now we had then 2020, again, the Keynote. And so it's an annual conference, and therefore appearing in the Keynote is always very important for a service, for a solution. And therefore we were very happy that now the third time we also made it into the Keynote. And this time we were even going one step further. So first Keynote was technology, second was how to embed it into our offerings, into the business suite. The third was how to how to enlarge and to broaden our footprint there. So in the past, so in the other years, we had it in a couple of solutions, and now in 2020 we extended it over to more and more solutions. So in this case, it was the ECC solution, which was introduced already a couple of years ago, but it's still in use, and it's doing the heavy lifting the enterprise critical processes at many of our customers. And therefore also we wanted to allow these customers to connect to our cloud platform. And that was then the main theme at this small messaging snippet that was part of the keynote. And with all three keynotes, I've added the URL, so later on, if you have the time, watch them. I think it's worth looking at the keynotes. So what I've been talking now as a reference, why I use these keynotes, is I wanted to show you how important the topic of messaging, of eventing is at SAP. So what we are doing right now is currently the following. So we established at our products on the one side a central event mesh, SAP event mesh, and of course we are connecting one solution after the other to it. So SAP is so when I started SAP, more or less, many years ago, we were not really, but simplified a one product company with having the ERP system, the R3. But then over time, of course, there were many additional solutions were created, acquisitions, and. So now we have quite a lot of solutions and offerings at SAP, but the question is how to really bring them together, how to connect them. And it's always a challenge. It's always a race that you have to run. And what we are currently doing is or what we've been doing for quite a long time, is to offer integrations between our own services, but also offering our customers the possibility to leverage that for own developments and for own integrations. So for example, we are offering integrations to S4, to now the new one, to ECC, to PI, S4HANA on-premise, and. We are offering new integrations, for example, from B-Class to ECC on our price list. We are offering new adapters. So the cloud integration has AMQP connection possibilities. Our data hub, data intelligence to analyze the event streams. It's now offering a new adapter to connect to event mesh and. So there, what I've been showing in the last 3 slides is, so now we are enlarging the footprint inside of SAP. What you also see here, we are developing more and more solutions that are directly leveraging the power of the eventing, like cloud integration, process visibility, digital compliance, and. So it's more or less every other week there's a new application being that is asking how can we onboard, how can we use, how can we leverage this central event mesh. So and there's a lot currently in the works, and there will be quite a lot of new offerings, new approaches come to you as a customer. So to go a little bit more into detail on our SAP side here, so we are offering a lot of events in the S4HANA, in our main ERP offering, in the S4HANA system, cloud, and on-premise. So you'll find there already predefined events ready to be used. We have in SuccessFactors the possibility, we have the possibility in ECC, we have the possibilities in many other solutions. And at SAP, for us, it is really important to hide away at the end the manifold of our various offerings. And therefore, we are believing very strong in cloud events, async API, ODM, so in our own way to harmonize the metadata and the payloads. So we are using there quite a lot of approaches and technologies in order to harmonize the events that are coming from all these various sources. In order to make that as easily available for you as a customer as possible, We are also providing a nice overview on that on api.sap.com at the API Business Hub. And there's an own section now available for events, for the topic of events, where you can directly browse and see what events are available, what's the payload looking like, what is the syntax, and so on. So you see, we care a lot about the topic of events at SAP. So there's more and more solutions are being onboarded, and more solutions will come over time. So now talked quite some slides, quite some minutes about SAP itself, but I'd like to go a little bit more in the details of our partnership that we have there with Solus, and what's a little bit what's the background of what you've just seen at all the slides. What was the background of this nice TechEd demo with the mobile phones and shaking the phones and grabbing all the events there? So we started our journey there together with Solus in 2014, when we first discussions and first POCs and evaluations. Then we had a decision that we at SAP, we wanted to have a very close relationship with Solus. That's where we had a press release at that time issued by Solus together with SAP, talking about our partnership. And then we started since 2015 also to purchase lots of hardware at that time for our own SAP-owned data centers. So at that time, we were then using it for the services that were running on our own SAP data centers, like the platform integration, CPI, vehicle insights, and a couple of other applications. At that time, so until 2016, we were using it only internally. So for our own, for the solutions that we were providing to our customers, and our customers were not really able to see what technology was underlying. They just enjoyed the reliability and the performance of solutions. But of course, our customers also wanted to develop own applications based on the SAP Business Technology platform. And that was the moment when we released the enterprise messaging service, also SAP Beta, in 2016. So we had also 2016 was the showtime, and we were doing this nice demo, and we were doing the first introduction to the market, basically, for this new service. We're adding then in 2017 more and more services, now that the infrastructure was there in place. Of course, for SAP, having so many applications is always interesting to leverage what is there, obviously, and therefore we were adding more and more solutions there to the Solus based messaging service that we had. So we were also adding more and more appliances, and of course we had more and more data centers in all regions of the world. So we have, I think, 15 or something like that data centers that are now equipped with Solus hardware. But at that time, also in 2018, we were starting offering the SAP Cloud Platform, the business technology platform, not only on SAP-owned data centers, but also on data centers that are running on hyperscalers, the typical ones, AWS, Azure, and so on. And therefore, we were no longer able to just add additional hardware from Solus into the data centers. And that was the moment where we were then signing another OEM deal together with Solus, which allowed us as SAP to use the Solus software into our own offerings that are now running on Azure, on AWS, and so on. So the product that came out of that was then, because earlier it was only in beta, was then on the price list, on the Q2 SAP price list in 2018. And of course, then we were adding more and more solutions again on this service that was running now on the Solus software, not on the hardware. But luckily, the software and hardware from Solus, they have quite similar or very similar APIs, and therefore our teams, they were already very familiar with concepts and ideas, and therefore the switch from the hardware to the software was not very complex. Now, the big news, just coming fresh out of the press, is that we are now signing an additional OEM contract that will allow SAP now to sell the Solus PubSub Plus, because the world is continuing to turn. And so in the beginning, we were focusing a lot on SAP-centric scenarios. But of course, our customers, they have so many systems. They have thousands of systems and a couple of hundreds, which is a lot, are somehow SAP related. But there are a couple of thousand systems which are not SAP-centric and SAP related. And of course, to have an end-to-end enterprise event mesh requires the availability of brokers exactly there where they are needed. And that was the reasoning why we were starting these negotiations and why we are now happy to be able to offer that. So as I mentioned a little earlier, so in the beginning, we were only looking here at the blue side, on the left side, SAP technology platform. We were ensuring that we have there a robust and scalable infrastructure for our messaging and eventing needs. And I think that that was already achieved, and we are constantly working on that. But the right side, the green side, I think this is now the interesting new thing. Of course, Solus is offering these PubSub platform environment already since some time, and it's offering a great combination of central management plane and the ability to deploy the brokers on customer-owned data centers, on Solus-owned accounts, on-premise, using the Kubernetes, for example, technology. So it's a very value-adding offering. And customers were asking, how can we, on the one side, financially take it buy it from SAP on the other side, how to ensure that this integration, the close mapping between the right side and left side, the green and the blue, how to ensure that this is working perfectly. And that's exactly what is the spirit of our new and even increased collaboration between SAP and Solus, that we are looking exactly at these scenarios where we are now linking the two worlds together and are offering there a joint product. And the power of that is now, just imagine you're developing an own application based on Azure, and it will now be very easy to also leverage the events that are coming out of the S/4HANA, ECC, SuccessFactors, and systems, and the other way around. So if you're developing something, if you're using, for example, the workflow or data intelligence and so on, SAP side, it will be easy to bring in the events that are floating around from the non-SAP worlds that you're having there on the right, on the green side. So I see a huge potential on this new collaboration, on this new joint offering, and I'm really curious to work together here with our first joint customers. So really excited here. So, and of course, I'll have to change my picture that I'm showing very often. And now there will be here on the right-hand side also the Solus PubSub collaboration. Of course, when it's coming out of from the SAP price list, then we will have some SAP branding on it and so on. But in reality, it will be very, very, very close to the Solus PubSub Plus. Okay, so that was this topic, but I'd like to dive now a little bit deeper in the topic of the eventing centric use cases coming from SAP. And of course, showing that, always having in mind that this SAP event mesh is something where Solus is underlying, where Solus is being used. And just imagine what these scenarios could look like if you have the possibility that in SAP event mesh, not only the S/4HANA cloud data, but one of your third-party solutions, one of your own applications, own developed applications on hyperscalers is adding information to it, adding events to. So here in that case, that we've also documented very nicely, and you can see the URL there also on the slide. We described step by step in very easy to follow steps what do you have to set up, how to do that in order to develop a small Node.js application on top of our business technology platform, how to wire it to the S/4HANA system, how to enable the S/4HANA system so that whenever there's the business partner something, if there's something happening, some new one gets created, if there's an update, then how to receive these updates, how to query for additional details via a REST service, via an OData service, and so on. So all that is documented very easily. So for you, very easy to follow. And as I said earlier, in future, when the SAP Event Mesh has now the possibility to reach to even additional applications in a very easy way, with this new partnership, with this new reselling, then it would also be very easy to adjust these Node.js application for that that will then leverage more and more data. Then we at SAP, of course, are not looking at or positioning services in detail alone. So I've been talking now for quite some time, for now 20 minutes, only about one service. But at SAP, we're always looking at the services in a wider context. So we have therefore two main motions, I would say. So it's extensions and integrations. And if you look there at the topic of the extension suite, then I'd like to show you where the now the event mesh is playing its role. First of all, the event mesh is simplifying a lot. These extension suite is simplifying a lot the way to develop extensions. First, you have to connect, then you build your extension, then you add channels for UI and mobile, then you deploy it to the platform, to the cloud platform, then you're operating it. So quite simple, right? So in the last slide, I've shown, of course, how easy it is to develop extensions on top of the SAP BTP, Business Technology Platform. And now I'm going a little bit more in more detail on what exactly is underlying there. So I started with the connect piece, and of course, every customer is different, and therefore the way to connect and every scenario is different. And therefore, we're offering quite a wide range of possibilities to connect. Event-driven architecture, eventing, of course, plays a role, but of course, it's like with every tool. So of course, you can use a screwdriver in order to hammer and nail into, but of course, we'd like to offer the perfect tool for the right the right scenario. And therefore, we are offering event support. We are offering also our cloud platform integration, which I'm talking about more in detail later on, which offers way more tools in order to integrate and to connect. But there are also tools like smart data integration, which are more on the database level, but not only, in order to really replicate data from one side to the other. So there's quite a variety of options available from the SAP side in order to solve the connect topic. So connection is solved. The next thing after the connection is, of course, to build the application logic, the endpoint. And here we're also offering quite a lot of support, starting with tools that don't require coding, like workflow, like business rules, like IRPA, and so on. So there's a couple of tools available where you're modeling more the application, the extension. We have also tools in order to develop if you need higher level of flexibility, obviously. So JavaScript-based cloud application programming model, which is a model-based development approach that should simplify the task of develop applications in these environments. And this comparable thing on the ABAP side, the RESTful programming model, like the RAP, that we are offering on the ABAP side. So a lot of tools there as well in order to build the application logic. The outcome of that is a REST endpoint, and these REST endpoints, of course, they need to be visualized. So we have tools available in web, like HTML5-based tools, also tools like conversational AI offerings, and also in order to help with mobile scenarios, which needs sometimes offline support, which also requires sometimes device-specific push notifications, and so on. So there's also a need for specific mobile support. So also here we are now able to add easily the visualization channels or interaction channels. And then once that is done, once the application is connected, the logic is there, the visualization is there, then of course it needs to be deployed and operated. And also here we are offering quite a lot of tools in order to run these applications and also to do the DevOps for that. And now imagine all these richness of services of support, and you are able now to connect more event sources to it and have also events coming in from the non-SAP world. So with that, of course, and given this rich environment here, it will become even more valuable for you to develop here and leverage there the possibilities there, because then you're now able to use the events from the applications where you're not able really to gather the information from there in the past. That was the extension picture. Now I'm talking about the integration picture, so which is also really important in SAP. Also our CEO, Christian Klein. So he released under his name an integration strategy paper, which is also available here as link in the presentation, which is showing on a higher level how SAP is looking at the topic of integration in general. And if you go there a little bit more in the detail, then you see as well, similar to the extension piece, also here the integration piece is able to provide answers for all the individual needs that the integration topic requires. Cloud integration, data intelligence, API management, and so on. One important piece here is, of course, the event mesh, which serves there also in order as a building piece in order to solve all the event-centric integration requirements there inside of the integration suite. So, having said that, I'd like to come to the summary of my quick intro of my presentation here. So for SAP, it is really important to work day and night on the topic of event-driven architecture. So therefore, we have with the event mesh environment there, broker as a service today. It is an integral part of our event-driven ecosystem. And of course, it's nicely embedded in the various offerings that we have, the extension suite, the integration suite as part of the business technology platform. And I'm really looking forward for the next steps that we are taking here with Solis and our joint offerings. Thank you very much.